I'm Peter Roskam, and I voted against all the nonsense that's come out of Washington, D.C. over the past year and a half or so because they're based on bad economics. I voted against the stimulus, I voted against the bailouts, I voted against the budgets, all because they're based on a false premise. And the false premise is that we can borrow and spend our way into prosperity. Look, we know that's not true in our own lives. We know that's not true in the businesses that are around us. So what is it that Washington, D.C. thinks is true in that case? Well, I think the rest of the country has finally figured out what you and I know, and that is this is a fool's errand, and it's not a way to pursue things. So what is the way? How do we move forward and try and create some prosperity and some opportunity so that ultimately there's a buoyancy to this economy and we're growing again? One of the key components, in my view, is to change the culture in Washington, D.C. And here's what I mean by that. Right now, in Congress, there is a culture of spending. There is a belief fundamentally that more money makes problems go away. We've got to change that attitude. Number one, we can't afford it. And number two, it just doesn't make any sense. And if we change it to a culture of savings so that budgets are being cut, there's a restraining influence on what's going on, then ultimately we're going to be able to pull back from a very perilous situation, in my view. If we don't get our hands around this problem, if we don't come up with real solutions and get spending under control, ultimately we're going to be loading up debt upon debt upon debt on our children and grandchildren, and they're going to be experiencing a very different American economy than you and I have done. Now, I'm not willing to do that, and I don't think you are either. So let's get it together and let's fix this place.